Well, hello there. My name is Dave Bila. I want to welcome you to this new edition of News and Views by Access, broadcast by Access LaPorte County on Public Access TV Channel 99. We are a weekly public opinion program addressing local, state, national topics and issues of interest to the Michigan City and surrounding areas. Opinions are the views and the responsibilities of those making comments and do not necessarily reflect or represent the views of this program or its co-producers. We will adhere to broadcast rules, but absolutely no one's First Amendment rights of freedom of speech or freedom of the press will be either muzzled nor denied. Any unauthorized use of the accounts, descriptions, and events of this program without the express written consent of Larry Curly or Schmo is strictly prohibited. We hope you enjoy the program, the participants, and the discussion. Ladies and gentlemen, Notre Dame ladies basketball program are officially in the Elite Eight today because they beat Vanderbilt by 2 points. The little girl Dazo or whatever, she had 31 points. I almost believe she had a triple or a triple double, or she had 31 points, 10 rebounds, and a lot of assists. So now their next step appears to be UConn, because not too many people have come close to UConn yet this year. No. But again, congratulations, Lady Notre Dame basketball team. You really did a good job. Gentlemen?
Well, I might pick it up with something I talked about earlier, but I really want to go into the election situation after I get through with this one. But I noticed that there were two tests that have hit the national TV in terms of truck drivers being pulled over and what they found. One of them was done here in Indiana. I'm assuming it's probably done on I-70. And another one was done in Georgia, and I'm guessing probably Interstate 85. But what they set out to do was to find out what was causing some of the major problems with these large trucks. And so they started pulling truck drivers over for violations, speed violations, on the wrong side of the road, this type of thing. Almost 50% of the drivers that they pulled over were here illegally and then got a driver's license illegally. They tested them. They could not read English. They could not read signs, and they couldn't speak English.
I understand that the Secretary of Transportation, Pete Buttigieg, let the truck driving school self-certify.
Well, that Pete Buttigieg, remember, was a Democrat.
I know, but he let the truck certification license
they're pulling these people over.
Self-certify. So now you got people who
what do we do about this?
Aren't acceptable.
Yeah. And they're causing all kinds of accidents as a result of it. So this is a problem that has to be solved. We've got to get these people off these trucks and get drivers who understand the language, understand the signage, and can do that. With that said, unless others want to comment, I'm going to go to the election.
More important things, the election. Very important.
Well, I don't know about
Here
that.
we come. Because this is where you get to pick the people that make the decisions.
You're right there. Okay, primary election day is May the 5th. But in order to be able to vote on May the 5th, you have to be registered. Last day to register is April 6th. And Tony's technology tells me that April 6th is a Monday.
A special Monday.
Official Monday, also known for a couple of hundred years as
Dingus Day.
Dingus Day.
So have a good time and go register to vote.
Okay, in order to register, first of all, you have to bring along with you a government-issued ID. Obviously, a driver's license would work. You can also get an ID at the Bureau of Motor Vehicles. That will work. Or if you happen to have been in the military, you can get a VA ID, and that would also work. But along with that, now this is not to vote. This is to register. You have to have a valid birth certificate or a valid passport. Now, if you were born overseas, you can have a consular report of your birth abroad, or you can have some naturalization documentations. So it's going to have to be at least one of those, along with a government-issued ID. Now, in order to vote, you have to have that government-issued ID, and it has to have a photo on it. It can be a state ID, it can be a federal government ID. It has to spell out your name, and it has to conform with your name on the registration card. So they're going to look at the registration as it pops up. on the screen that the clerk has. They're going to compare it to your government-issued ID, and if the address is the same, the name is spelled the same, you're fine, you're going to get the vote. One note, student IDs, which previously were allowed, are no longer allowed in terms of registration. I would start very soon. If you really want to vote, I would do it this next week. Get down to the county courthouse. You can do it here in Michigan City. You can do it in LaPorte and register to vote. And you shouldn't have any problem then when it comes to actually voting. Any thoughts on what I didn't cover in order to register to vote?
Yes, sir. A maiden name, a woman's maiden name, when it was changed when she got married or when she got divorced, is the divorce decree a legal document?
No.
That can be used?
No. But
Well, then what would be?
you just have to go down there and register under the name that you were given. So if the divorce decree allowed you to retain your old name.
Yeah, spell that out to the camera, because that's been a lot of concern from the married women or divorced women, that their identity could not, they could not declare their identity.
Well, you're going to have to vote under the name you're registered under. So what is your legal name? What are you, what name did you come out with when you got your divorce issued by the court?
I agree. Okay, then your vote, okay, can be contested based on the name on this legal description, on this legal decree.
Not if you use
Somebody could contest your vote. That's all I'm
Well,
saying.
somebody can always contest your vote. That doesn't mean they're going to win. As long as you're using the name that you signed your court documents for the divorce with, you'll be fine.
Well, will that individual need additional information?
No, they're going to need a birth certificate. Then they're going to have to show the change in name when they got a divorce.
Wouldn't that make? But they lived here for 50 years and then for some reason they got divorced. Why should they be considered a non-citizen?
I'm going to talk about who the state representatives and the state senators are. You can take that up with them.
I don't intend. No, I'm on the side of the female population out there.
I am not saying you're not, but when you get a name change, you have to show it. I mean, you don't have to. You can still register to vote under your old name and vote under your old name.
What happens if my house burnt down, that along with my birth certificate and everything else? What?
No. That if your house burns down and you lose
You
your
got bigger
birth
problems.
certificate- Well, I wasn't going to say.
SOL.
Time out. Then you do the same thing you did to get your original birth certificate. You go to the health department in LaPorte County. You just go to the LaPorte County Health Department. You tell them you need a copy of your birth certificate, and they will give it to
Will
you.
they give that to you for free?
Yeah. Well, that used to be for free.
Well, because you need it for your voter ID, because they have to give it to you for free? I don't think
I
so,
don't
but
know.
they should.
Well, I got
If you say I
mine,
need
but
it for
that
my
was-
voter ID, they should give it to you for free. Anyways,
Maybe
you're right. You go to the health department.
maybe you hit the solution right on the head. Maybe the answers for birth certificates are at the LaPorte County Health
Yeah, they
Department.
are. Yeah.
So everybody who might not know the location of their birth certificate,
It's at that, well, assuming they were born here in LaPorte County, it's at the LaPorte County Health
You
Department.
go get a copy.
again, go get a copy. And
Now,
that,
if you were born in California, it's going to be at the LaPorte County, at the Health Department in the county you were born in.
and they have how many days to accomplish this feat?
Well, in this day and age, if they'd send it to you over the internet, takes probably, 12 hours maybe?
I don't think they will. Pretty important document.
Okay, well, maybe you're going to have to go by the snail mail, and if you have to go by the U.S. Post Office,
Well, this is definitely important information.
yeah, but most of the time, people are going to have a birth certificate already. It's if they don't have one that you're going to have to go through this.
Oh, I have one, but I can't tell you exactly where it is. You know exactly where yours is?
Yeah,
I know I have one in my house somewhere.
I know where
I
my
can't really
birth
tell
certificate is.
exactly where it is.
I run across it every once in a while when I go through my
Yeah, oh, there it is.
Oh, there it is. Wow. Put it and move on.
Exactly where it is. I can find it in an hour or two.
I would
Anyways.
suggest that you get a
Will a passport do?
no, yeah, I said passport.
Okay.
Yeah, I said passport. Well, anyway, okay, can I go on to the next situation
Yes.
that I went into?
So April 7th, Dingus Day, is the last day to register to vote in this primary.
Yeah. In terms of the election, this is a primary election, which means that you must declare a party. Right now, the only two parties that have been able to qualify for that are the Republican and the Democrat parties. So as a result of that, if you are a member of the Conservative Party or one of those, you will still possibly be able to vote, but they just have not qualified for the primary, so your vote will come in the general election if they do what needs to be done in order to qualify to be on the ticket in the general election. Now, for those that have qualified, to start out with, there is no election this year in the state of Indiana for the U.S. Senate or for the governor's race. There are a number of other offices that will be at the top of the ticket when the ticket comes out in November. But these are offices that are selected by the parties in their conventions. The convention, in this case, will be putting up for election a Secretary of State, a Comptroller, and a Treasurer. So those three offices will be on the ballot in November, but they are not on the ballot now because neither the Republicans or the Democrats in those offices are part of the primary. They are part of a nomination in their convention, which I believe is going to be held in June. So if you're looking for that, you'll get your chance in the general election. Now, there is one federal office that is on the ballot, and I'll start with the nominees there, or potential nominees. First of all, the Congressional District Number 1, which basically is Michigan City, Porter County, and Lake County. The Democrats have two candidates, Frank Mervyn, who is the incumbent, and Lavetta Sparks Wade. Those two will be on the Democrat ballot. The Republicans will have two on the ballot for the representative from the 1st Congressional District, Barb Regnitz and Ben Ruiz. The 2nd Congressional District, which basically is the rest of LaPorte County, not counting Michigan City. It's St. Joseph County, Elkhart County, and Marshall County. On the ticket will be two Democrats in the primary, Jamie DeSio and Sean Michael Mavens, and one Republican, Rudy Occam, who is the incumbent. And I should have also mentioned that in the 1st Congressional District, Frank Mervyn is the incumbent. In the 2nd Congressional District, the incumbent is Rudy Occam. Now, for state senator, Senate District Number 4, Rodney Paul, who's the Democrat and the incumbent, will be on the ticket and he's representing Michigan City and Porter County. Two Republicans, Nate Oldricks and Johannes Pollard. For the House of Representatives in District Number 9, again, a lot of Porter County and some of Michigan City, Randy Novak, who is a Democrat and he is the incumbent, and Chris Cleveland, the Republican. Now remember, these are on the individual party ballots. So where there's only two candidates, like Randy and Chris, both of those will be on the ballot in November. Now, House of Representatives District 20, which basically encompasses a lot of the St. Joe area. Lewisham and the rest of LaPorte County. We have Lucia Faranic, a Democrat, Lori Liskey, a Democrat, and then we have two Republicans running, Juanita Haney and Jim Pressel. And Jim Pressel is the incumbent in that situation. Now, one that I had a lot of trouble with and still having trouble with it is House of Representative District Number 7. This is apparently a district that is at the southwestern end of St. Joe County and the far southeastern end of LaPorte County. We have two candidates, Oliver Davis, who is a Democrat, and Jake Tashaka, who is the Republican and the incumbent. So at that point, I think you've got an idea of what you're going to look at when you face the ballot, the people that will be there, and understanding that there will be 2 candidates that come out of this. They may come out of the primary election, or if there is only one candidate, and we'll talk more about this next week when we get into the county elections, then the parties can get together and put a nominee in if they did not have one in the primary election
By June.
by June. Okay, by June. Now, the next one I was going to talk about was the Superior Court judges. Superior Court 1. We have Michael Bergeson will be running as a Democrat, Jamie Oss as a Republican, and she is the incumbent. Superior Court Judge number 2, Richard Stallbrink, is a Democrat, and he is the incumbent. There is no Republican registered.
Democrat.
Yeah, Richard.
Stallbrink's a Republican.
I thought he was. Yeah,
Stallbrink's a Republican.
I'll be darned. Okay, I blew that one then.
Right?
Okay, Richard Stallbrink is a Republican. I'll take Tony's word for it. And he is the incumbent. And then there is no Democrat, so they will be allowed, the Democrat county chairman and the county precinct committee people will be allowed to put a candidate up in that office. Superior Court number 3, you've got James McCulca, who is a Democrat, Guy Dimistrino, who's a Republican, and Kurt Ernst, who's a Republican. There is no incumbent. The one that was there is retiring. And then in Superior Court Judge 4, we have John Link, who is a Republican. There is no income. They got him listed as a Republican.
John Link. Oh, no, that's prosecutor. Yeah, John Link. You're right. Republican.
Superior Court Judge number 4, John Link, who is a Republican. He is a magistrate in that court, but he is not the incumbent in that court.
What did you say? John Lake?
Link.
John Link. He's from LaPorte.
John Lake's running as a Democratic for prosecutor.
Yeah.
I remember the Link family. They were a notable family in LaPorte.
So, well, but, and again, since he is a Republican, the Democrats will be allowed to appoint somebody if they would like to do so to run against
Superior 4, who is Superior 4 right now?
him. Greta Friedman.
Greta Friedman. So she's not running?
I assume she wasn't. Well, they didn't have her. This is where you
Didn't know
start to
that.
get into some weird situations.
Oh, it's already
I don't know
weird.
if somehow they didn't get her as filed or what. I'm
already
getting my
weird.
information from the
Yeah,
clerk's office.
it's already weird.
So anyway, I will stop it right there temporarily and let everybody else go to talk about what they wanted to talk about. Then at the end, I will talk about how you can do early voting.
I've got.
But any questions on what I said?
No, again, obviously, the most important issue is for an individual to exercise his or her right to vote. Because you are the individuals who, when you cast your ballot, determine the knowledgeable or unusual people that get elected. So it's up to the public to get involved. And it boils down to individuals' intelligence quotient and how they want to apply it as to who.
And in an off year, your vote really counts.
It definitely does.
Oh, yeah.
And now I want to change the subject a little bit, because if anybody is computer literate, or if anybody follows Indiana Regulatory IURC Commission, there was a meeting, a public hearing, put on by IURC and the 5 utilities here in the state of Indiana regarding their rates. Now, again, I'm not one that I told you so, but back when I was on the city council, at the time, the utility company around Indianapolis was Indiana Public Service Company.
Power and light.
And at that time, I pointed out to the public that the NIPSCO rates were more expensive than the rates were down in Marion County. Well, that was back in the 80s. Lo and behold, in the discussion that I was able to glean from this hard of hearing topic, that same concept exists. ACS, the utility company in Marion County, charges for 1,000 kilowatt hours of electricity $158. NIPSCO, for the same 1,000 kilowatt hours, charges $223. The same discrepancy exists today that it existed in the 80s when I was on the council trying to relight the city of Michigan City, which I accomplished, but didn't get any credit for it. The fact of the matter is this discrepancy in utility costs have been around for a long time. Us people up here in northern Indiana have been gouged. That issue came out with the 5 utility companies. Michigan City is the highest, and around Marion County is the lowest well, other than some of these small entities who have their own electrical
Well,
service.
you make a good question, because Bob talks about INM, which is AEP, Indiana, Michigan, which is AEP. Their rates are about the same as Indiana Power and Light down in Indianapolis. And Indiana Power and Light, if I remember correctly, was bought out by an equity firm. So they're a for-profit people too. And that same discrepancy, 223 against 158, I think is the same discrepancy we see between NIPSCO and our neighbor, INM and AEP, and REMC, Kankakee Valley REMC. I understand that NIPSCO does sell power to the REMC, and REMC only charges the same rates like 158.
Tell them what the other.
It's Rural Electric, what is it, Rural Electric Management Company, something. So they're supplied south of LaPorte County. And I understand a couple of sources on the internet, reliable sources, have told me NIPSCO sells NIPSCO to REMC, which they in turn sell to the customers lower than what we pay when NIPSCO sells electric to us.
Well, I see the solution.
How's that work?
Yeah, I see again, the entity that exists today was the same as it was then, other than the inflation amount.
And did you watch the whole meeting? I didn't watch the whole meeting.
No, I didn't watch.
Did anyone say that?
It was a 6-hour meeting.
Yeah.
It was very difficult because there was no way that you could go back to other individuals' testimony without knowing exactly in that 6-hour period when they spoke.
I think we will be able to see the testimony, because I'd like to see if anyone asked that or anyone said that. How can you sell electric to another company and they sell it less than what you charge your customers?
Well, when I say it only
that possible?
pertained.
Well, if it's an overage that's available,
Yeah.
yes.
Well, I'm leading up to something here.
Go ahead.
But getting back to the 5 utility companies were there to present their case. There were no questions asked of them. They made their initial.
They made a statement, and that's it.
They made their statement, and that was it, pertaining to their specific structure. Now, I just recently received a letter from NIPSCO. I don't have it with me. I thought I had it, but I don't. Basically, telling me that I am eligible for a refund because the meter that they put on my house didn't calculate the proper usage. And it's only 1% of the population that were...
Well, they also sent a letter to everyone telling them that they didn't have any overages.
Correct. Well,
I got a question on that as a technical side. And I wish the IURC would ask and tell us, how do they know?
Good question.
How do they know? Did they run tests on these meters to see if they were calibrated right? And I have another question, which I thought, because most people don't know, that used to be under the surveyor's office. The Department of Weights and Measures is in every county in the state of Indiana. Do the utilities have the ability not to be liable to the Departments of Weights and Measures in the state of Indiana? Because you have meters that meter gas and electric, just like you have meters that give you gas pumps. If you look at any gas pump you drive to, it says the LaPorte County Department of Weights and Measures was here and they inspected it. Every scale in the Meijer and Walmart and Al's every year is the Department of Weights and Measures is checking those. Are the utilities exempt from proving that their meters are correct?
Okay. And what I got out of my letter or my communication, that my meter that they put on sometime that
But how did they know?
How did they
know?
It was according to what it said in that letter. It was not calibrated properly, and they determined that I was in.
And how did they know?
Good question.
Well, somebody called them and said, we got a problem.
Okay, so they knew you were over or under, but how did they know how much? I mean, there's this dark calibration that no one's telling us. Shouldn't the company who made these meters say, listen, This is how we know. We took these meters, we tested them, we saw that the meters that were done on this day or this month, just like they do with cars, were incorrectly calibrated. I think the IURC should ask that from NIPSCO and ask that from the vendor which they have these meters. Prove to me how you know that they were high or low or they were right.
And I believe,
give us that information.
I believe Senator Bohacek has initiated with the State of Indiana Attorney General Rapitta some official inquiry.
I hate to be, but the IURC approved the rates. They could thumb their nose at us. They don't really have to answer any questions. I would bet, if I bet on the March Madness, nothing's going to happen.
Well, then why then did this letter
Except
that they
it
sent
cost
to me?
a bunch of money, and they sent letters out to every one of us saying either you did or you didn't, and they went down there, and I guarantee you they're going to charge us as customers for doing that to all of us.
I'm just saying, according to the letter that I received, I'm entitled to a refund. Up to 12 months.
Are they giving you a refund, or are they giving you money off your next bill?
We haven't gotten that far yet because I just opened the envelope.
And what about the interest they made on overcharging?
That is correct. Now, if you look at their,
That's what the IURC should have been doing.
yeah, look at their management staff.
Dave, the same thing is going to happen to your grandkids 40 years ago, but from now, unless we do something a little more severe than what you're talking about. The solution to this problem is that we should be under I&M for electrical purposes, not for gas purposes. NIPSCO has a very good record when it comes to gas. When it comes to electricity, because they are very small, they probably...
Their administration runs more effectively, to put it nicely.
Yes, yeah. Well,
Because that
let
is
me finish.
administration cost.
Let me finish. What you're trading is the cost, because they are a very small utility, so when they do something, it's going to cost a lot more per person than when a very large utility like I&M does something.
Well,
now, what do you get in return for that? You get much quicker...
Economy of scale.
Yeah, you get much quicker going out there and taking care of down power lines, because there's only so many down power lines in the NIPSCO area. So the question comes up, when we get these heavy winds, they can get out there a lot faster and then get the smaller amount of down power lines taken care of. You're paying a much higher rate in order to get that kind of service. I don't say that the two shouldn't be, that they shouldn't be able to do it together, but that's just the way it works when you're a small utility.
NIPSCO letter said I was in 1% of electricity. Here's another letter that...
I hate to tell you this, Dave, but I found it on my meter, and I owed them money, and I called them, and they said, "Oh, thank you."
I'm just saying that the I'm under the impression that the chairman of the board of NIPSCO is in excess of $1 million a year.
That's
in
another
salary.
question that the IURC
You find an
should have
electrical
asked.
engineer that wants to do that job, good luck. Because they're paying, you know what they're paying electrical engineers on a national basis right now?
No matter what I bring up, Bob, you take the opposite position.
But we got to get some of this stuff out there. Do you know what
That's
they're
what I'm
paying?
trying to do,
Would you
and
know
you're
what they're
cutting me
paying
down.
for electrical engineers right now, coming out of college? You
150.
can graduate with a BS degree from Purdue and put in your resume, and they're going to offer you over $100,000 a year. I don't care where you put it in.
The chairman of the board of NIPSCO is making $1 million a year.
Well, he's making more than that.
Yeah.
He's
Yeah, you
making.
can't-
Wait,
He's making 9.2 million.
$9.2 million.
In 2024, and now he's making $12.7 million. That's AI.
Wow.
I wish the IURC, for no reason at all, would have asked each CEO sitting in front of them, could you tell us what your salary is?
But this particular thing that I watched on TV was only the first phase. They are
I
having,
only watched a few minutes because
Yeah,
I'm sorry, they never got to any facts. They never got to any solutions.
That is correct.
They never got to any
because the initial
interesting
concept, Tony, was to have the 5 utility companies make their presentation.
Whoopee. And they're probably going to back charge us for that as ratepayers, because we had to go down there and testify in front of the IURC. And we had to send a letter to every customer saying whether they got charged, overcharged, undercharged, or no charge. So get ready, folks. I mean, they're not going to give this up for free. They're going to charge somebody. They are an investor-owned company. They have to produce a result. I just did a quick calculation. The difference there is about 30%.
Is that all?
Yeah. So about 30%, if you had a $500 a month bill, it equals about $1,800 a year. Is it worth $1,800 a year for you to get better, quicker, restorative electric or not? Because that's the question. When you boil this down, is I&M returning your service faster for $1,800 less a year, or is NIPSCO? Because that's what NIPSCO is telling us, that their administration is that much more expensive because they return our service quicker than I&M and REMC. That's what you're asking yourself. Is it worth $1,800 a year per customer to get your electricity turned on quickly?
Is that residential or is that commercial?
Oh, that's just whatever that rate is.
Yeah, supposedly this is commercial.
The rate
This 30% for residential. I'm just saying 30% of utilities for a business is a tax deduction. So what's the argument then?
And you know, NIPSCO,
It's residential would be the
they get
argument.
paid. Yeah, the residential is the highest, in the aggregate, the highest customer, the highest number of people
Well,
they can bill.
theoretically, that's because they have to take care of them.
Now, to your point, I don't see why, again, the IURC and the state legislature and the governor says, listen, because they started this last session, that we have, the opportunity to buy our electricity from anybody. Two, we have the opportunity to another utility has the opportunity to run their electrical lines on the same poles that NIPSCO has, and we could pay less of a transportation charge. I don't know why they don't open up capitalism to the utility market, because now we're beholden, and they call that an oligopoly, to one person that we can only buy from. We can't buy from a neighbor. If I had a bunch of solar and I wanted, Dave was my neighbor, and I want to sell him some power, I'd have to run an electrical cord over to him, which is probably illegal. Or I can't just put it on the grid and give it and have Dave buy it because I made more electricity. I am forced to buy it. I am forced by law in the state of Indiana, if I have a bunch of solar or any other generator electricity, to give it to NIPSCO at the wholesale rate, which is like 3 cents. Is that fair? That's completely unfair.
And what I'm saying is that
And NIPSCO knows that. They goes down to IURC, they give them the presentation. Guess what? See you later, guys. Thanks for being here.
I attended an IURC meeting in Hammond back in the
how
early
was
80s. And it was a bunch of like big people in black jackets, fat cigars, just sitting back, reading the paper, listening to the little guy try to testify
I
to
don't
make
know
a
if it's
point.
true, but a friend of mine watched something, I think it was the IURC meeting, they said, isn't it kind of rude that they showed up with gold watches on their hands?
Yeah.
Really? You're coming to an IURC meeting to plead your case that you're not overcharging people and making too much money, and you're wearing gold watches? Really?
I keep
Pretty
telling
dumb.
you, look, if you guys want to do this, we are so far behind with electrical engineers, mechanical engineers, these kinds of people. The reason they can come with gold watches, the reason they get paid these high salaries is because there's so few of them.
There's a vacuum.
Yeah.
Hey, Bob, hold up your left hand and dingle it out there.
It's a Rolex.
Show the Rolex.
I don't wear a watch.
Look whose side he's
I have
taking.
watches right here. Well, and these are whatever. These
look
are
whose side
$1,000,
he's taking.
right?
Yeah.
A phone's probably $1,000 nowadays. But anyways,
Well, right
if we
now-
don't have the opportunity to choose
That is
who
correct.
we can buy from, we are beholden, good or bad, right or wrong, to one utility customer. That's it. And we won't stop that. And you can ask, I don't know, go down to India a few weeks and see what happens with the lobbyists and see who sits at lunches and dinners. You're going to find out why nothing gets done.
But I really thought that now there was a comment section at the bottom that I provided a comment to. Basically, the microphone was here,
To vent?
and I said, turn up the volume so I could hear. You know, I'm sitting as close as I can to my computer to hear. It was something was lost in a transition between there and to my computer in the volume wise.
And as far as technology is concerned, and I say this for nearly every meeting, why in the world are we sitting, and you see how many people are sitting in that room?
Yeah.
You know how much money was wasted in that room by those people sitting there? This could have all been done online in a virtual meeting where we could have heard it, listened to it, read it, transcribed it. But no, we had to drive everyone down to sit in a room in Indianapolis with whatever, 100 people, say 100 people were there and they're worth $100 an hour to sit there for 8 hours. That's how much money we just got fleeced.
Well,
Great, thanks. And what did it accomplish?
the
Yeah,
simple
bro.
answer to that problem is, and we ought to think about it a lot more, is just to go on Zoom. So you'd have a
Yeah.
central location, and then all of the individuals on the regulatory commission would be sitting up there, and anybody that wanted to could go to that central location. The rest of them could see it on
Well,
Zoom.
they could go to the library. They could set up places in the library to get on Zoom with a camera and a computer. They do anywhere.
By the way, sometimes in life, you're better off to be lucky than good. This watch cost me under $2,000 when I bought it 25 years ago.
Wait, well,
You
congratulations.
know what it's worth today?
Quite a bit more.
Yes.
20,000.
Now you look at what we have here. We have a little microphone, but I'm quite sure that you and a viewing audience have the ability to turn up your volume control on your TV set, that if you cannot hear one of us talk. I had my volume on high on my computer, and I had difficulty hearing the people mumbling. The IURC set there, the microphone is here. There's a distance of roughly about 3 foot of when this guy is sitting here trying to talk. It's extremely difficult. So I made a formal complaint to the IURC in regards to turning up the volume so that the consumers that you are addressing your comments to at least can hear the conversation.
I just did a rough calculation. If what I said, there's 100 people at $100 an hour sitting there for 8 hours, it costs us $100,000 to show that. What do we get out of $100,000? I mean, $100,000 is more than what 40% of the people in Michigan City make in a year. Which to do what? To sit here at a table with all these listening sessions. Nothing's going to happen.
Now,
Tony, now wait a minute.
before-
I want to play off of something Tony just said,
but-
because I think it's darn important. The reason that you're looking at low salaries in Michigan City and LaPorte County is because we don't have the kind of employment that's available in Porter County, that's available
Or
in Lake
Indianapolis.
County, or Indianapolis. We got to start. How many times have I talked about this? You're not going to move until you get that kind of employment. And we need to really start to attract.
let's get back to the issue, this 30%. This 30% pertains to electricity, am I correct?
Yeah, that's the numbers.
That's right. Well, meanwhile, Base Gas Utility is being investigated by the Indiana Utility Regulatory Commission due to discrepancies in natural gas bills. They're getting hit by both sides of the IURC.
So natural gas, we are in, and I don't know if I talked about this last week. Natural gas is a commodity that comes out, it comes with drilling and
Right.
and
Well, you got
fracking.
transmission
it
lines
comes
and-
out and we get some natural gas.
Yeah.
In Texas, and this happens a lot because Texas is a big port of gas and taking oil and converting it, and they're also a big port for taking liquefied natural gas and sending it overseas, which cannot move now because of the war in Iran. So right now, there's an article that Texas is just taking natural gas and just burning it.
Yeah,
And
I
their
saw that,
natural
yeah.
gas is like a negative 9 cents a million BTUs. We're paying about 23 cents. So they have so much. They don't know how to transport it. They don't know where to store it. They're just burning it off. And we cannot find a way to capture that because if you understand natural gas, there's no easy way to store it. They're storing it in caves. They're storing it in vessels. They're storing it anywhere they can store it because it's a natural gas that's very hard to store. It's a very light gas to store.
Well, it's just like every time you get up out of your bed first thing in the morning,
The cows.
you utilize natural gas distribution.
But I mean, the natural gas is something that we really, it's very good. It's very environmentally friendly. We utilize it very well.
Yeah.
And NIPSCO does a really good job at it. I mean, their transportation rates, which are, again, they're telling their administration. Now, I just had to go to South Bend this week, and I drove by the data center, and I did look at the battery plant, and that battery plant, that parking lot looks like it could hold, I don't know, 7,000 employees. And we're going to need our people to be ready to go to those jobs because those will be very well paid, healthcare, retirement. Those are going to be great jobs to have.
Now, let me also tag on to Tony on this one. The situation there is the ability to do math. You have got
yeah.
to start turning these people out And if we have to go through remedial algebra classes. However, we can teach them to do this so that they will be able to handle the math that they're going to have to do the kinds of jobs that we're going to
And
have
don't think
available.
this is just teenagers.
Oh,
You could
no.
have 20, 25, 30,
Yeah, you could
35-year-olds who need to get up to speed to take this job.
Or you could have 55-year-olds. If they've got 10, 12 years left,
And they're going to make $100,000 a year, but retirement and healthcare and benefits?
hell yes.
Heck yeah, go. I mean, I'm sorry. And the government's going to be, I think the government is going to be the first one to be hurt by this because those people are not making the money they should. And you're going to see some government people leave and go to data centers and battery plants. And we're not ready. Michigan City's not ready. Let's say LaPorte's not ready. LaPorte County is not ready. A, to fill the employees in need. B, to house them. If you're looking at 1,000 people, at a minimum, you're looking at 500 new homes. We're not ready, folks. And I don't know, we're so far behind the eight ball, I don't know what you do to catch up. Because we have to.
Well, the other place that Tony didn't mention where it really is going to soak up the engineers is the defense industry. Drones are moving so fast in terms of technological development that the defense has been unable to keep up with the offense in terms of these drones. We're going to have thousands and thousands of these drones. They call them, some of them called kamikazes, because they actually will fly through the air. They're on one trip, but you can maneuver them into situations after they get in the air. The technology is there to do it because they're only going to be used one time, $16,000 per, rather than $1 million missile.
But the drones we talk military they're drones bigger than this room.
Yeah.
You know, they're holding missiles. And the drone, the technology, you're right, is moving very fast because drones that you see are propeller operated. They are now jumping in the drones that are jet propulsion operated. So they are going to go supersonic.
And they can change it.
How much time do we have left?
Not many, 10, 15 minutes.
And the major thing is they can change
You
their
better bring that on if you're
destination.
gonna go to-
Yeah, I got something I want to get on, ladies and gentlemen.
This is always fun.
This pertains, always fun. Now, for those of you who don't want to listen to me, turn the TV off, go to the bathroom, or go someplace else. All right. During the Mears administration, Ohio Street South from Highway 20 was initiated during the Mears administration. So the city of Michigan City did some work on box culverts behind the cookie factory, and
I think he took over the tail end. I think Oberly started that. Go ahead.
Oberly, yeah,
Oberly started it,
Oberly
and then
was involved
Meir
with
built it.
Strobel. Okay, anyway. All right, so for 3 administrations, not this current administration, all right? The city was involved, the state was involved with dewatering the area in front of Terrace Acres so that, by the lift station, so that the state highway wouldn't flood. And the lower box culvert under Highway 20 was lowered 3 foot to allow additional water flow to go underneath Highway 20 we have a waterfall in Michigan City. The waterfall is where the old Monon tracks used to be. They gouged into that area to allow the flow from Highway 20 to go down into Kinsel Ditch, but they didn't dig it deep enough, so we've got roughly about a 5 to 6 foot water flow backing water up behind on the east side of the Monon tracks. And then we've got a backup. That's the backup by the Monon railroad track base, 5 or 6 foot drop. Then we have the second backup, Strebel Pond. Strebel Pond is another gigantic backup. It's 68 foot higher than the level of Michigan, than the level of Lake Michigan. I consider that a gigantic 20-acre backup of water. Then the third backup is Earl Road and the culvert underneath Earl Road. If you stop your car and you look, you can see deterioration of that culvert where the water level on the south side of the culvert is roughly about 3 or 4 foot high, and the water level on the north side of the culvert is a trickle. The fourth backup is the CSX tracks underneath the CSX tracks that are half full. I've got pictures of it. We're going to have a program with Andy pertaining to the culverts being not cleaned out. The fifth backup is the Hitchcock Street culvert, where the culverts on Hitchcock Street are higher than the water level of that area. The water level under the culverts are roughly about 3 to 4 foot deep. The sixth backup is the culvert under the Amtrak tracks, where you can see culverts standing 2 or 3 foot above water level, so there's no possible way that the water can jump up and go through down to the other side. But on the other side of the CSX Amtrak tracks, you'll see what I consider a beaver pond, because there's a gigantic pond on the north side of the CSX tracks. All of these 7 backups attribute to retention of a water table within the west side moraine. Okay, and when you have a gigantic water flow, a gigantic rain, or a week of rain or so, eventually these backups eventually back up, and it ends up in the point of least resistance, which are the viewers' basements. Individuals that live in Village Green and the surrounding areas in this west side moraine still get water in their basements. I've talked to people on the west side. They say they still have water problems. The Michigan City Sanitary District gets $500,000 a year to clean out ditches. With what I project here, with Strebel Pond being 68 foot higher than the level of Lake Michigan, and I project these backups just on the Kinsel Ditch area, could someone determine that there might possibly be a remote possibility that there may be a problem in drainage? We have an engineer here. When he and I went out there.
I'm not an engineer, I'm a surveyor. But
Well, with his GPS system, we had it. And when he went out, he said, Dave, at least there's a 1% water flow. The ditch is flowing. Didn't you remember?
For sections, yes.
For sections,
And
you made that
sections
stomach.
are flat.
He did some calculations. The calculations said today,
If you take the whole breadth of that, the 23,000 feet, it's 0.2%. But some sections have 1%, some sections have 0.
What was your calculation on what it's going to cost to put in?
If you put
Storage.
if you put 23,000 feet of 60-inch plastic pipe, let's say it's $5 million.
There's your answer. You
But
have
I don't
got
think a
to go
60-inch will
after it.
handle. I don't think a 60-inch will handle 97 million cubic feet of water.
You're spending $500,000 a year to clean out sewers. That you can get $5 million
In 10 years.
In 10 years, you're done for the rest of it.
and the Michigan City Sanitary District has been getting this $500,000 a year since 1970.
Craig, so we could
early
have bought
70s.
2 of those storm sewers.
Yeah, so for 30, oh no, now this is 50 years, you could have had 25 million.
Yeah.
Now, am I blowing hot air?
And we could put a culvert, a box culvert through the whole thing.
Now, there's again. I sent a letter down Indianapolis with the inquiring. The letter sent me the entity that I talked to in Indianapolis. They said, well, it's the responsibility of the sanitary district to do this. So I took this issue, the sanitary district, if you can't get any response from them, go to the city councils. Well, I took it to Don Przybylski. Don Przybylski has arranged a meeting with the Vachette girl,
Wendy Vachette.
Wendy Vachette, Don, me, Al Wallace, and Tony is welcome to attend this meeting to point out this discrepancy. The sanitary district has the money to do the job. They have been, since 1970s, when they took over the responsibility, they have failed in their responsibility.
Well, they spent the money somewhere else. Did you find out where they're spending the money? They're spending it somewhere.
I don't know where they're spending it. They're getting it, but I don't know where they're, hey.
Salary?
At the same meeting,
gonna be-
could you ask them about storm sewers at the same meeting to cover all that? Tony's got a good idea here for $5 million. Hell, and if we could get grants to pay for half of that.
Why is it that
put a
these
bigger pipe
issues?
in for 10 million?
I'm just saying that my intent, I'm 82 years old, I want to improve the lay of the land. That's all my intent is.
On a minimum, you're asking to clean out the system to work as well as it can.
And I've got pictures to prove that the sanitary district is not doing their job. And they continue. I took this presentation to them 5 or 6 years ago. They ain't done a damn thing. You know? They think that I probably am. I'm a blowhard. But I want to get something accomplished. And if you allowed Mother Nature to pursue her natural flow in that 68-foot pitch from where Strebel Pond is to where level of Lake Michigan is, we'd no more have a Strebel Pond. And then I would suggest to the sanitary district, all of that dredging that they dug out of there, go over and pick it up and put it back so that you can incorporate that land into housing or some industrial development and make it habitable. You know, you've got issues going around Strebel Pond. You got perverts running around Strebel Pond. Who's policing? I just read that on a computer. There was a mother and a daughter are having a picnic there, and they were approached by some perverts. The sanitary district has a responsibility to better the community rather than tearing it down, and they've been doing that since I was on the council.
At a minimum, the land that is west of the tool store there, Harbor Freight.
Yeah.
You look at that land, you go down 20, you can look to the south, you see that land's all flooded. That water is supposed to drain into this pipe down Highway 20 through the pipes that go there south of the Market Mall, through the by the Sonic. There's a big pipe there. But when that project was done, and I have proof, I've given it to the city 3 times in the last, I don't know, 12 years, there was a pipe that drained that area, cross Highway 20, to the west, into the pipe that the mall outlets into. But that ground has been flooded and inundated so much that there are cattails growing it, so now they consider it wetland. And that ground, if you can look on Beacon, you can find out that the private party that owned it, actually gave up that ground and now in the redevelopment commission because it's so wet you can't do anything. If we would had done something at a minimum, opened that pipe back up when they redid 421 in Franklin, we would have captured ground that could have been developed and built on, but now is sitting as a wetland pond with backed up water. You go look at it. You can look at it. All you want is backed up water.
What was your monetary figure at $500,000 since 1970? What did it amount to?
Well, it's been 50 years, so $500,000 is $25 million. $25 million is not gone to the ditches.
Now, how can we prove that the sanitary district got the $25 million?
You go to the auditor and they give you a report, how much money they give you every year.
Yeah, but you said there was a water board individual who kept...
Well, the drainage board gave the city the ditches within their jurisdiction and the money to keep those ditches clean. So that's why the LaPorte County Drainage Board does not do the ditches in Michigan City. I think it was called Bridges to Ditches. So Michigan City gave the county the bridges with the bridge fund, and the county gave them the funds for the cleaning of the ditches, of which there's about $500,000 a year now, I understand. You can look at the auditor, will give you a report how much money is given every year to the sanitary district.
So I'm just saying that there are issues out there that when you go to the polls and elect a competent official that knows what the heck he or she is doing, they can discover these issues. How I discovered the issue, I've been on this issue with the sanitary district when I was on a council with Jim McCarty when he was there. We were talking about...
He's a good man. He
Jim,
knew his stuff.
Jim, I applaud him because he listened to you. We're getting down to 5 minutes. Anyway, on the 22nd, there will be this meeting with the sanitary district, with Al Wallace and Don Przybylski, me and Tony and Vachette, to bring these issues. Prior to the meeting, during public comments, I will make my comments public to the sanitary district. Then, during the meeting, Al Wallace will make his presentation to the city of Michigan City pertaining to the conditional water in Michigan City. And you'll be able to identify who's who in a zoo pertaining to who is saying the proper language and who is saying hot air language.
Well, somebody has to decide and get the gumption to set aside money and bond this fix.
Yes, yes.
If it takes 20 or 30 years, it takes 20 or 30 years. Yeah. We can bond it.
It's got to be, got to start it.
But you're going to have to tell somebody where this money is going now. They're not getting the money, whether it's support or maintenance or administration or salary. Somebody's not going to get that money anymore.
You're going to have to find out where the sanitary district is at their bonded debt limit. That's one of the questions you want.
Well, you could increase the bond debt with the $500,000 per year.
Well, yeah, but I believe
they're really low. We've paid off most of our bond, but we'll look. We'll do
Well,
some-
if
do some
they've got
research.
space,
They got space.
then we're in good shape. Dave, fine to clean out the ditches for the next 3 or 4 or 5 years, but you don't want to do this for the next 40 years, for crying out loud.
What
Get a
I want to
storm
do is,
sewer in
what I want to do is I want to accomplish dewatering 1/3 of the landmass in Michigan City that is incorporated in the West Side Moraine. The West Side Moraine is from Ohio Street west. Okay?
Storm sewer will do that. They'll do it. For
I
the
don't
next
care how
50
they
years.
do that. Just get something by on a yearly basis, continually ignoring me and ignoring my issue over the last 5 years that I brought to their attention 5 years ago.
Well, what was Streetville Pond? 22 million?
That
would have been a good
It was a
start.
lot of money. I mean,
Councilman Jankowski, right?
Yeah.
He was up, and boy,
Yeah.
he was a great councilman. He was up on this, and he was not happy with them spending $22 million in his neighborhood that really didn't fix the situation.
and the solution is simple. Strebo Pond is here, Lake Michigan is here. There's a from 65 foot down to a 48 foot drop in elevation. You talk about intelligence quotient. Who were the engineers who designed this concept to build a pond on top of a hill, 68 foot higher than the water mass of Lake Michigan? Who are these people? The
Making more
intelligent
money
people
than you
of this.
and I.
Huh?
And make more money than us.
Making more money
What's
than you and I.
20% of 22 million? Okay, 10%. That's 2 million. So somebody got $2 million.
I mean, I missed that.
You get,
Well-
the engineer gets typically 20% unless there's, or 10% unless there's a big project, and they're going to get 5%. but-
According to my information, the engineer on this particular project is going to be mentioned at this meeting. Al Wallace was the designing engineer of Strebo Pond.
Was he? He was not.
He was involved. He was
the
paid.
sanitary district.
No, he was not with the sanitary district. He was involved with the designing of Strebo Pond with Overley.
I didn't know that.
That's what I was told.
I thought he was the head of the sanitary district
No.
at the time that they bid it out. And I don't remember who the engineer was, but it's easy to find out.
Anyway, we're getting someplace.
you
The
go.
22nd, so hopefully you'll be able to watch. We're getting down to what, last minute, Tony? Last
1 minute.
Anything else, guys, real quick?
Yeah, I want to just mention that next week we'll start to talk about early voting. I've got the sites where it's going to be, the times that you can vote. I didn't get a chance this week, but we'll talk about it next week because you got to register by April the 6th, and April the 7th, early voting starts.
All right, we're getting down to the last minute. I want to thank everybody for watching. Your input as to improvements or criticism of the show is greatly appreciated. Please contact Show's Try co-producers Bob Pollock, Dave Bila, or Tony Hendricks with your comments. You can email Bob at skrpollock@gmail.com, Dave at djbila1@hotmail.com, or Tony at emailagm@yahoo.com. Or you may address your ideas for any future shows to our one and only staff writer, Sarah Bellum. The showing of our program will be Saturday morning at 10 a.m. and also Monday and Thursday evening at 7 p.m. on Channel 99. You may also enjoy watching our program and reruns of this program on 99 Navigates News and Views. We hope to see you again next week, and make it a good day.